Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayat. Nashtaprayasho Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. I think we finished this. Yeah. End of 4, chapter 4, verse 13. नाश्चर्यम्येतद्यद् असत्सु सर्वदा महद्विनिदा विनिन्दा गुणपात्मवादिषु सेर्ष्यं महापुरुष पादपांसुभिर्निरस्ततेजः तु तदेव शोभनम्. It is not wonderful for persons who have accepted the transient material body as the self to engage always in deriding great souls. Such envy on the part of materialistic persons is very good because that is the way they fall down. They are diminished by the dust of the feet of great personalities. Everything depends on the strength of the recipient. For example, due to the scorching sunshine, many vegetables and flowers dry up, and many grow luxuriantly. Thus, it is the recipient that causes growth and dwindling. Similarly, Mahiyasam Pado Rajo Bhishekam, the dust of the lotus feet of great personalities, offers all good to the recipient, but the same dust can also do harm. Those who are offenders at the lotus feet of a great personality dry up, their godly qualities diminish. A great soul may forgive offenses, but Krishna does not excuse offenses to the dust of that great soul's feet, just as one can tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's head, but cannot tolerate the scorching sunshine on one's feet. An offender glides down more and more, therefore, he naturally continues to commit offenses at the feet of the great soul. Offenses are generally committed by persons who falsely identify with the impermanent body. King Daksha was deeply engrossed in a misconception because he identified the body with the soul. He offended the lotus feet of Lord Shiva because he thought that his body, being the father of the body of Sati, was superior to Lord Shiva's. Generally, less intelligent men misidentify in that way and they act in the bodily concept of life. Thus, they are subject to commit more and more offenses at the lotus feet of great souls. One who has such a concept of life is considered to be in the class of animals, like cows and asses. So this is mainly talking about Vaishnava Aparadha. So it depends on the recipient. So great Padaraja, the dust of the lotus feet. It offers all good to the recipient, but the same dust can also do harm if somebody offends uh, such great personalities. Now, what is the meaning of offend? Offend. Um, Sadhu ninda. Offend means ninda, criticize. Of course, it can be through words, through action, uh, each one being more grave than the other, grave offense than the other. Um, mind, words, and body. Mm. So we can either offend somebody in the mind, we can offend somebody in the body, we can offend somebody physically. Mm. All of them are bad for the doer. See, here the important thing is great soul may forgive offenses. Now, of course, this whole concept of Vaishnava Aparadh has to be understood. There are two sides to this. One is, first of all, we should be able to recognize who or discriminate and identify, recognize who a Vaishnava is. And um, we should respect everybody, but we don't have to endorse wrong ideas. For example, if somebody is doing some mistake, they might be, they might have done, uh, some good work in Krishna consciousness, but if in case they're doing mistake, they still have to be rejected. Shastra says, Prabhupada says, right? Now, if we don't discriminate, then we will think that everybody is correct. Of course, then in that approach, we will possibly not offend anybody, which is in one way, yeah, safe for us. That we don't discriminate at all. We don't look at whether somebody is doing right or wrong, and we might just protect ourselves. But we are in a society of Krishna conscious devotees, and we have some responsibility towards the society as well. Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON is not just a responsibility of few people. ISKCON is a responsibility of every devotee. Protecting ISKCON's interest is the responsibility of every devotee. Now, one major thing that is happening, or has already been happening for few years, and which will possibly be very detrimental for ISKCON, is deviations. Deviations can be small, big, right? And everything is basically just taking ISKCON away from the original path. And this deviation, um, mm, yes, small deviations, big deviations, deviations in philosophy, deviations in uh, how to serve, everything. So there are various aspects. Mm. So when we do deviations which are big, then what happens is that ISKCON will possibly end up being something else, very different from what Srila Prabhupada's original intent of establishing ISKCON was. Prabhupada's intent of establishing ISKCON was a society of pure devotional service. Hmm. Now, obviously, many things that are happening in ISKCON worldwide are not necessarily on the platform of pure devotional service. They seem to be more on the platform of mixed devotional service. Um, Simple things today. We see many Prabhus, devotee men, wearing a new style of uh, kurta, new style of kurta, mm, which was not there before at all. Prabhupada made it very, very simple. Prabhupada actually, Prabhupada's time, there were only two colors in ISKCON. One was saffron, the other was white. That's all. There are only two colors. Now it's multicolor, right? And also very clear that devotee, I'm just specifically talking about Prabhus here. Um, so there, so kurta did not have collar. Collar means not like shirt collar, but the half collar, Chinese collar, as we call. Even that was not there. So there was a clear standard which was established. Now it's a small deviation, right? Now, for this, what happens then? All temples are stocking all this kind of fancy stuff. So it just starts a deviation and it end up somewhere else. Now we see people with tattoos, people with beards, people with long hair, all kinds of things. This is a deviation. Now, if somebody is doing this, it is possibly not right to endorse it, saying that, oh, okay, okay, it's fine. It's your free will. It's your free will. You can do anything at home. But if we are also representing ISKCON, and people look at us and also they, they develop some opinions about ISKCON. So these are deviations. So we have to be careful. Now, if somebody is doing deviations, it's not required that we endorse it in the fear of Vaishnava Aparadha. Hmm. Actually, the person who is already creating a deviation, depending on the nature of deviation, might not even be considered, uh, worth his position. Right? So we have to be very careful that, of course, on one end, we should not offend unnecessarily. Somebody is doing wrong, then there's a way of correcting it. There's a etiquette, etc. But we cannot just close our eyes. So it is difficult, but at the same time we have to do both. We have to not offend, but at the same time protect Prabhupada's ISKCON. So, um, but sometimes because of envy, people end up offending Vaishnavas. Envy, right? And just because somebody's become more famous or whatever, more people, they have more followers, etc. Sometimes people become envious. That's obviously it'll end up in offense, right? So we have to be careful. We should never be envious about any devotee in Krishna consciousness. If somebody is making more progress than us, we should be happy, and we might even take their association guidance. Uh, but if we become envious, then we will offend. I've seen of cases where people became envious of other devotees because they made fast progress, much fast progress, and then they couldn't tolerate it, and that came in the middle of their bhakti, and yeah, almost they are now out of devotee association. So things like this happen. And Krishna, like here, it's saying devotees might forgive. If somebody offends a Vaishnava, Vaishnava might just forgive because he's very, very compassionate. He will not consider himself a Vaishnava. So he'll say, yeah, yeah, nothing, no offense. But Krishna will not excuse. Krishna will punish. Krishna will punish in such a way that, of course, the intention would be to correct the devotee and bring him or her back into devotion. But sometimes the devotees who offend, they have such a crooked mind that they don't want to correct themselves at all. Then it will be very, very unfortunate because those devotees might end up being outside ISKCON, outside Krishna consciousness. And this kind of mentality saying that I will do bhakti irrespective of whether I have devotee association or not is foolishness, arrogance, uh, whatever you want to word you want to use. Because nobody can make progress without being in the association of devotees. Mm. So it is double-edged sword. We have to be very, very careful. We cannot just close our eyes at the same time. We cannot go about like uh, Prabhupada is saying here, one who is completely is identifying with the body, bodily concept of life, he will see everything on the bodily platform. Offending on the bodily platform obviously is offense, right? Offending, uh, um, meaning if suppose say there is a mistake that has been done and it's on the spiritual platform, then somebody needs to take the responsibility of correcting. Otherwise, we'll end up being somewhere else. But misidentifying with the body. Now, suppose say somebody is in Kapila Muni talks about devotees in different modes, doing bhakti in different modes. So suppose somebody is in the lower modes, doing bhakti in the lower modes. Somebody who is doing bhakti in the higher modes, it becomes their responsibility to guide them, right? But we cannot just close our eyes saying, no, 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 it will become a Vaishnava aparadha if I tell that person that he or she is wrong. No, that's not an offense. What is an offense? Offense is one when there is no mistake at all, and we are mistaken, and we end up saying something, right, or doing something which is not correct. That is an offense. Second, if somebody is actually doing something wrong, correcting them with a good intent is not an offense. Of course, then we have to know whether what we are saying is right or wrong based on Guru Sadhu Shastra. And there also consideration about our position in the Vaishnava society, whether the person who is doing the mistake is senior to us, junior to us, equal to us, etc. All those things have to be considered, and we have to act appropriately. Mm. So it's not acceptable to just close our eyes. At the same time, it's not right to just go on left, right, and center. Just criticize every devotee that we see. Right. So both are bad. We have to be very balanced, base our actions on Guru Sadhu Shastra, but we might have to tell sometimes, uh, when things are not being done as per Shastra, as per Guru Sadhu Shastra. It becomes a responsibility, especially for leaders, and becomes a responsibility of leaders. They can't just close their eyes in the name of, oh, if I say this, somebody will feel bad. But our work here is not to worry about whether somebody feels bad or not, especially if we are leaders. Our work is to give the right uh, tattva, give the right practices as expected by Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas. So it becomes a big responsibility. But in general, what I have seen is because um, devotees also deal with other devotees materialistically. Materialistically means just on the bodily platform. Envy, all these kind of things results in many a times I've seen devotees talking behind other devotees about something that has transpired, etc., which is not good at all. If at all we want to correct somebody, and if we know that the person has done some wrong, and if you are in the authority, if you have the authority to correct that person, then we should have a conversation with that person. If we don't have, then we should take it to the person who has authority over that person. Some other devotee who has authority over that devotee, and then let that person know what has happened, and then let that mentor or guide of that other devotee take appropriate action. But we can't just close our eyes. And how do we know whether somebody is right or wrong? We have to read Prabhupada's books. We have to read Shastra. Only when we read Prabhupada's books we can understand whether something is right or wrong. So this is very, very important actually, especially for a society like ISKCON, which was established with a particular mood by Srila Prabhupada. But today, somewhat we see everywhere the mood is that of enjoyment. Enjoy. But enjoyment is not pure devotional service. Our enjoyment is not pure devotional service. Krishna's enjoyment is pure devotional service. So whatever we do, our goal should be is Krishna satisfied, Krishna pleased with our actions. But most of the things we seem to be doing is for pleasing ourselves. For example, if we are anything, I mean, if we have Govindas, what are we doing? We're doing stuff for our sense gratification. Like I said, clothes, doing for our sense gratification. It is not, I mean, this is very not the high class. This is not high class bhakti. This is just for, and many a times when we bring up such points, the only explanation or argument is, no, all kinds of people come to Krishna consciousness, which is fine, but who or when will they be brought on the right path? Because they will never know. They will never know what is the right thing because we will never be able to say that, right? Because every time there are some new people always coming. So if we say something openly, then those new people will get upset. So the old people, the other people who are new, I mean, a few years back who have now become old, still think whatever practices they are doing are right, but which may not be right at all. So it's very, very difficult, once we start accommodating for new people, Course correction normally doesn't happen at all. It just goes in that same direction. And we cannot say, okay, okay, once they come to 4 rounds, 8 rounds, we will tell them, correct them. Because they would have got used to so many things. They'll say, oh, why you didn't tell me before? Now I so much like this, playing guitar while kirtan. Why you are now saying that stop playing guitar, for example? Right? So things like this. So it's always better and safe to set the right standards from day one. It's not like so difficult to follow. It's not very austere. Krishna consciousness is not very austere. Like generally, it's very light and something anyway everybody can follow. Mm. So there are multiple considerations. Once this word offense comes, there are so many considerations. Mm. We have to be very careful, not close our eyes at the same time, not just go about correcting every person who comes before us. Right. So both are important. Yadvaik aksharam nama gireritam drinam sakrit prasangad agamashu hanti tat pavitra kirtim tamalangya shasanam bhavanaho dveshti shivam shivetaraha. Sati continued, my dear father, you are committing the greatest offense by envying Lord Shiva, whose very name, consisting of two syllables, Shi and Va, purifies one of all sinful activities. His order is never neglected. Lord Shiva is always pure, and no one but you envies him. Since Lord Shiva is the greatest soul among the living entities within the material world, his name Shiva is very auspicious for persons who identify the body with the soul. If such persons take shelter of Lord Shiva, gradually they will understand that they are not the material body but are spirit soul. Shiva means Mangala or auspicious. Within the body the soul is auspicious. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. This realization is auspicious. So not remaining on the bodily platform. So Prabhupada is saying if somebody is too much engrossed in bodily platform, by worshipping Shiva, actually they will come to um, the right platform of understanding that Aham Brahmasmi. As long as one does not realize his identity as the soul, whatever he does is inauspicious because we'll be acting on the bodily platform. And bodily platform means bondage, so it's inauspicious. Shiva means auspicious, and devotees of Lord Shiva gradually come to the platform of spiritual identification, but that is not all. So this is coming to the Brahman platform. So Shiva is so merciful that he is ready to accept all kinds of jivas. And finally, he brings them to the platform of Brahman. Auspicious life begins from the point of spiritual identification, but that's not all. Just coming to the platform of Brahman is not all. Then auspicious life begins. But there are still more duties. One has to understand one's relationship with the Supreme Soul. If one is actually a devotee of Lord Shiva, he comes to the platform of spiritual realization. But if he is not intelligent enough, then he stops at that point, only realizing that he is spirit soul. If he is intelligent enough, however, he should continue to act in the way of Lord Shiva, for Lord Shiva is always absorbed in the thought of Vasudeva. As previously explained, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. Lord Shiva is always in the meditation of lotus feet of Vasudeva, Sri Krishna. Thus, the auspicious position of Lord Shiva is realized if one takes to the worship of Vishnu. Because Lord Shiva says in the Shiva Purana that the topmost worship is worship of Lord Vishnu. So Shiva says in Shiva Purana. So he is not in any illusion about who is the object of worship. He is also always in the meditation of Krishna. Lord Shiva is worshipped because he is the greatest devotee of the Lord. One should not, however, make the mistake of considering Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu on the same level. That is also an atheistic idea. It is also enjoined in Vaishnaviya Purana that Vishnu or Narayana is the exalted supreme person of Godhead, and no one should be compared to him as equal, even Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma, not to speak of other demigods. So, again, just explaining Shiva's position. But Shiva is always pure. Is always pure. Whatever he does, right? He took that poison, still he is pure. Because he is very, very powerful. Sati is saying nobody but you, Daksha, can envy him because you're not seeing his good qualities, because you're envious of him. You're blinded by your, pride of your position, by your false ego. You're blinded. So you're not able to see, recognize Lord Shiva's great position. Worshippers of Shiva, mainly worshippers of Shankaracharya, followers of Shankaracharya. So they come to this platform of Aham Brahmasmi. But Prabhupada is saying that's not all. That's just the beginning. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatmana Sochati na Kankshati Samasarveshu Bhuteshu Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. So once Jiva comes to this platform of Brahman realization, then he has to come to the platform of Bhakti. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. But anybody who takes shelter of Shiva will be protected, will be delivered. Actually, Padma Purana also says that somebody who is a worshipper of Shiva, after 3 lives, Shiva brings them to Vishnu. 3 lives or something like that. So Shiva knows very clearly who is the actual object of worship. Topmost worship is worship of Lord Vishnu. So he brings his followers to that platform gradually. We've seen that actually in our preaching activities. We've seen so many people from North Karnataka who are all worshippers, originally worshippers of Lord Shiva. They are now worshippers of Lord Vishnu because they understand. And it's very, very clear that Shiva himself has brought them to the worship of Vishnu because he is actually giving them the best welfare, doing best welfare activity by bringing them to Vishnu because Vishnu is the topmost worship, object of worship. Hmm. So we should never think that Shiva is same as Vishnu. Then we become a Pashandi. We become an atheist by doing that. So there's nobody equal to Vishnu or Narayan. Everybody is subordinate. Mm. But still, Shiva is very, very auspicious for fallen souls of this material world. Very, very auspicious, very merciful. Ashutosha becomes very pleased. He's even protector of Brahmanas. He's even protector of Vaishnavas. So Lord Shiva is very, very exalted personality. Okay, so I'll stop here. Is anything else? Any comments? Yeah,
Pranam,
Rishima.
Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yes, Prabhuji, I was in Vrindavan like 15 days back
Jai.
to have Guru Maharaj's darshan.
Okay.
So while coming back, I met a lady. I thought that she's a disciple of His Holiness Loknath Goswami Maharaj because,
Loknath Swami Maharaj.
uh, yeah. Before one day before, she told me I'm coming back from the Vyas Puja. So I thought ki she's so senior, I should listen from her. So I went to her apartment, and there I was shocked. I saw pictures of all the demigods and Sai Baba also. Then I learned that she's not a disciple of Loknath Swami Maharaj. So I just asked her, like she was telling me, like since her childhood, she was uh, like desiring to see Prabhupada. She must be 60 above. So I said that's good, and she was reading also few books. And then while we were talking, she told me ki like Sai Baba ki teachings bhi same hai. He's the greatest Vaishnava. So I was taken aback, like I was shocked. She was senior to me. I could not say anything. Then I told her, "Have you read Bhagavad Gita?" She said yes, and she was not ready to listen. While I told her ki we should have one guru, she was aspiring to take Diksha from His Holiness Kadam Kanan Swami Maharaj. Yeah. And again, she started with Sai Baba's glories. So, and she told me there are many disciples of His Holiness uh,
It's okay. Go ahead.
Gopal Krishna. Yeah. Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who are having photos of Sai Baba at home. I don't know. And they are going to Shirdi as well. I don't know. Matlab, such a great deviation. So I just kept quiet and I just talked about our this thing,
Yeah.
scriptures, and I talked about, she was
Yeah.
reading Prabhupada Leela Amrit also. So my
Yeah.
cousin was also with me, and she was not so favorable to ISKCON, so I kept quiet and I just came out. I just went ki I should hear from a senior lady, like she was having tilka and she was like dressed as a Vaishnavi,
Okay.
but it was like I was really disheartened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah. Which is the whole point, right?
hmm, hmm, hmm.
Anything and everything is possible. So we have to be
Yes,
very, very careful whom we are associating with, whom we are hearing from, etc.
right.
Because yeah, in today, yeah, unfortunate but true. Anything and everything is possible, and nobody even openly says these things, right? Like who will say that one should not worship Sai Baba as God?
Yes,
So nobody
I
will say
just
all
gave
this.
her a hint. Sorry, I'm interrupting. I just gave
Mm,
her a hint that what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, and we should have a guru like living. She said,
mm,
"No, Sai Baba is guiding me. He's my guru. He's not allowing me." Matlab, like her sentiments and all. I was
yeah.
really disheartened. Matlab, what are
Yeah,
they
I
like
mean, all kinds
ready?
of see, there's no problem with people being on the platform, right? And slowly let them come to Krishna consciousness, understand the actual Krishna conscious philosophy, which is okay. I mean, which is what is the expected path, right? Not everybody wants to come to the path of direct bhakti. Most people are on this indirect path. And slowly Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. Very, very difficult to anybody who just thinks is Krishna is all in all. Day before in one satsang, some new devotee he came and he told me that after coming to Krishna consciousness, he said his wife conceived. They were having so many challenges. I said, yeah, great Krishna's mercy. They said, yeah, yes, yes, Prabhu, definitely. When the child is born, I will make sure that he will take the name of Sai Baba and Krishna. I just couldn't. I mean, he's very new to Krishna consciousness. So I said, okay, anyway, he's chanting Hare Krishna, let him be. But now it's clearly marked in my diary, this devotee, and that at one point of time I have to bring him to the truth, right? But of course, he's too new. By the same time, we cannot just leave it. We cannot just leave it like that, right? And definitely in another, in suitable time when they become more fixed in Krishna consciousness, they should be told, saying that this is not right. This is not the philosophy. Mm. Um, yeah, but unfortunately, you see, not a how many of us know what are all the belief systems that other people have? You might recommend somebody for initiation without even knowing them, which is one of the things I do diligently is before recommending anybody for initiation, I first go to their home. It's just generally, I'll just go to their home because I want to see first what photos are there. I want to see their altar. There only I'll know what their belief systems are, right? So if I see only pa parampara, Krishna and Vaishnava parampara, and specifically ISKCON parampara, and relevant things, then I'll be more comfortable. Then I'll say, okay, yeah. Then talk about their spiritual practice, etc. Because it's without, which is why initiation recommendation is a big, big job. It's not a small job. Because after that, they'll just, I mean, they're out of their hands. We can't tell anybody anything. They'll do whatever they want. If at all we have any control, it's before initiation. After initiation, it's only few devotees who will surrender, take to authority, want to follow instructions. Very few. Mostly people think they're done. Yeah, I was submissive to some person, so that he or she can recommend me for initiation. Now I'm done. Now it's my way and whatever, right? So and we have to be very careful. We have to remove these misconceptions, which is the point I'm making, right? So, unfortunately, we don't speak very strongly, right, in Srila Prabhupada's service. So, and then that results in all these kinds of things. And what are they doing? They are representing. Then they'll go outside. People think, yeah, Krishna ISKCON means you can do anything. You can worship Sai Baba. You can worship demigods. Mm, And then the whole position of ISKCON goes for a toss. What to do? Unfortunate. But we have to, in our own ways, we should try and prevent such deviations. Yeah, Rohini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, I heard a small Guru Maharaj speech about, quantum theory, like,
Just
first.
one request. There are devotees from other disciples of other Maharajas here, other devotees who are seeking initiation from other Maharajas, etc. So you can say, my Guru Maharaj is Holiness Bhakti Vikas Maharaj.
Oh,
It
okay.
is a better etiquette. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, small lecture. So he was talking about the quantum theory. So it will start with learning, mathematic numbers, plus, minus, and then like subtraction, addition, and then geometry, trigonometry. Like, once you come to that stage, then slowly, like you'll be, when you're qualified, then you'll study this quantum theory like that.
Yeah.
So this Krishna consciousness is like, highest of that. Slowly, like step by step. So everybody is not qualified at one step, like to reach Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Just wanted.
Yeah, one is not qualified to come to the platform of Krishna consciousness, but that has to be recognized by preachers, right? If you don't recognize that somebody is at a lower platform, that means that he or she will take a little bit more time, and we are okay. We should be patient. We should wait. We should encourage them. We should guide them, till they come to that platform. Unless they come to that platform, we should not bring them into the parampara. This is the big problem. There's no problem if people take time, but we should not bring them into parampara unless they have actually matured, unless their beliefs have matured, right? That we have to be very careful about. Otherwise, it's okay. We are happy to have, see, Krishna consciousness for everybody, right? So with open hands, we welcome everybody, right? Anybody and everybody can come to Krishna. And that is the idea of ISKCON also, right? And it's a platform to train, to guide people to come to the right platform. So we welcome everybody, but there is a process of mentoring. There's a process of guiding. Make sure that they understand the right philosophy, they follow the right practices, and then they become part of the parampara. That's the critical part. Otherwise, yes, anybody and everybody can come. Absolutely welcome.
But Prabhuji, some people are so like fixed, they are not ready to even listen. The slightest thing can like offend them. I was
Then they
speaking
are not.
to this lady and she was like taken aback when I said,
No, because that is because Ruchira Mataji, that is because at a suitable time, nobody told her that she was not right.
yeah. And now
Right?
at this age, it is very difficult
Yeah,
for her to change her
correct.
beliefs.
See, which is why preaching is an art, right? It is an art, because we don't want to upset people, but at the same time, we don't want to just let them remain in their comfort zone or following some wrong ideas. So preachers have to be very, very smart. They have to recognize these things at the suitable time, do the needful. Otherwise, yeah, it'll all go haywire. Okay.
Thanks, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, everybody. So we'll close here. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyashta kripa sindhubhyo cha patidānam pāvanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Jai Samaveta Gaura.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.